educated, and then all of a sudden,
but I'm pretty sure it's one of the same people in here.
just a few more days. I was so excited too. I was just like, bro, I'm poor.
Hey, our Delulu friends. Again, it's your girls, Shayna and Winona, and we are here to talk about chapters 16 through 30 with you today. And I am so excited because there's some good stuff in these chapters. And I would like to say I actually read the full 15 chapters today, whereas if you didn't know, I accidentally read 5 chapters short last time, and so Winona kind of spoiled some things for me that happened, unbeknownst to her. So that made it really interesting. So hopefully I was a great actor and like, yeah, I totally knew what was going on. Yeah. But I have read the full 15 chapters today and I am prepared. Winona, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so like again, warning, there will be talks of what's going on in the book. Hopefully, if you're looking at this episode specifically, you already know that we talk about all the spoilers in the book, and so it's not a surprise, but just in case, warning, there's going to be spoilers. We're going to be talking about the books. The first thing I actually want to talk about is those dragon roasted apples. They look so good. Or like not look, but they like sound so good. Heaven, truly.
Yes.
When she threw away the apple, even though she said it like tasted like Jack's, I still was like, oh, like it's so good.
You're like, I want one.
Seriously. Speaking of, my mom made the
Um,
whatever candy apples. And if you're on our Spotify listening, on YouTube, we will have a picture up, and this somewhere around here, it will show the picture of what she made. And yeah, they look so good.
Actually, I think if you're on Spotify, like when I upload it, I think the video uploads also. So you might be able to see it on Spotify too.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So that was like the first thing, because that, even still, I'm thinking about those apples. They sound so good.
Wait, so how did your mom make it?
I'm not entirely sure. She like baked them. She said she got like a very specific apple. It was like a New
Okay.
Zealand apple or something.
Ooh.
They're supposed to be like more sweet and hold together better. So when you bake them, they don't just, become mush and fall apart. So they're supposed to be a
Mhm.
lot better to use in this sort of a situation than your typical whatever red apple that you get. So yeah, she like roasted them in the oven with, I don't even know what she was talking about, using maple syrup, but I know that she didn't use maple syrup. But I know she used some sort of sugar on top to make it like look sparkly. But it sounds really good. And we were video timing and FaceTiming, and she like took a bite into the apple, sitting there going, oh my goodness, it's so good. And I'm just sitting there, because we're in 2 different countries, right, to be like, thanks mom, this is great.
If you're like, share that recipe.
She said if we get enough followers, people who want to try them, that she would make a cookbook and sell it. So
Yeah, we could have our own like delusional podcast cookbook.
mm-hmm.
We're delulu enough to believe that we'll date these book boyfriends and delulu enough to think that we're good chefs enough to create something exactly that like tastes like Jack's.
Oh my goodness, yes. Luckily, my mom has gone to school for cooking and is a baker. Like, she's trained. So we are
I
not
didn't know
trained, but
that.
my mom is. She's gone to school, she's worked in restaurants, she's had her own bakery. So she is definitely a qualified person. Not so much.
Did not know that. Your mom is a baller.
She is.
One thing I wanted to bring up. Okay, so because like a lot kind of happens in this book,
Yeah.
right? You find out that when she kissed Prince Apollo, he's essentially bewitched now, and like it's like a love potion kind of deal. He is obsessed with her, but there is a twist, right? If Jax only said that if she marries Prince Apollo, then like he will undo the bewitching, right? But if she doesn't marry him, he will keep the spell on him, and basically it will be an unrequited love. And there is this quote that I was like, dang, Jax, who hurt you? Except I mean, I don't know if you know, but we know who hurt you, but like, dang. So I have it bookmarked. Um, Basically it's page 196, and it says, "It wasn't that long ago that I saw you in my church, willing to promise me almost anything to make that pain stop. Was that a lie? Or have you already forgotten the way heartbreak rips apart a soul, piece by piece, how it turns you into a masochist, making you long for the thing that just eviscerated you until there's nothing left of you to be destroyed?"
Ah, that's such a good quote.
Yeah, if you've definitely been a victim of unrequited love. Relatable, almost too relatable. Stephanie Garber, keep your voice down. Okay. Okay, keep your voice down.
You're talking a little loud, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, please. Please.
Oh, that was such a good quote. And honestly, when I read I did write a quote down. It was not that one, but that was really really good. It head on the nail. Just so good and so accurate to all of us who have been in situations like that, and specifically her, right? She's obviously hoping for this happier future with the prince, even knowing that it's not 100% real. Even if she didn't know what it was going on, she just knew that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not completely forgotten that obviously heartbreak sucks. But I think she has tried so hard to put it in the past that in a way she's forgotten what it was like, you know?
And I also feel like this is what like kind of bonds Evangeline with Jax, because they are both victims of unrequited love, right? This is a plot point in the series. And it mentioned this, right, that Donatella is the one that like broke Jax's heart in that series. And, and then obviously Luke, wherever you're at, broke Evangeline. Evangeline's heart. And so I feel like that's almost kind of one of the reasons why they're so drawn to each other, is because they're like it's almost like it's relatable. They both
Mm-hmm.
experience that. And so they know what it's like.
Yeah, definitely.
It was just incredible. And then so he uses that as kind of like a little bit of a manipulation tactic to kind of get her to do what he wants. And so he wants her to um marry Prince Apollo. And so she can open this ark. And he needs the stone from, what's her name? The magistrate?
They kept
Is that her
calling
name?
her Madam Headmistress of
No.
the House of Fortunata or something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So she has these stones that Jax wanted, but they did not get. And then we find out about this prophecy about the girl who wears her crown of rose gold, which is her hair color, which what a baller hair color to have, by the way. We
Right?
didn't talk about that at first. It makes me want to go dye my hair rose gold. Honestly, I'm like legitimately was thinking about that today, and I was like, I would be cosplaying Evangeline, but you know what? I would not be ashamed. That would be baller.
You would look really good in it too, let's be honest.
Thank you. BRB booking a plane ticket right now to go see my hairstylist.
Typing away.
I legitimately messaged her and I was like, how much would this be? Like ballpark. Like
I'm curious, what did she say?
she has not answered.
Rude.
She has a very busy life, and I know she also gets really stressed. And so I tell this to everyone. I'm like, when I text you because I'm thinking about it, and
Yeah.
if I don't, like I'm just never gonna do it, right? So I tell people, I'm like, you respond when you're good and able, okay? Like don't feel pressure to respond right away, because that would not be nice of me. So
I wish people like thought
anyway.
like that always, because sometimes even with my dad, I'll text him just randomly in the day, replying to what he said or just telling him about something, and he'll be in a meeting or something, and he's just like, "Shh, I'm in like whatever thing," and I'm like, "Okay, don't respond then." And he's like, stop it.
Yeah, just like
And so then I said, you
I
stop
mean,
it. And then he gets upset. I'm like, stop replying.
it's like you do not have to respond to my text. Like there's no gun to your head,
No,
okay? Like
it's so funny. Anywho, my point two that I had down on my notes, unless you had more to say on.
nope,
Okay,
go for it.
awesome. Was just that the paper saying that Marisol wants to hurt Evangeline, basically that she has it out for her, right? And then the fact that like Evangeline went to the room to go check on to what book she got or anything
Hmm.
fishy. She just saw cookbooks, but all of a sudden Marisol was right behind her and snuck up on her, and she said, "Oh, no, 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 I must have been too focused on the books. I didn't hear her." But I literally have capital letters sus. Like, I'm kind of not trusting the sister so much now.
Well, no, and even Jax was like you really should not be trusting her. And like I feel like if Jax says that, like that's something that you should really
Right. Yeah.
girly pop. Like and like I don't know. I feel like there's a huge parallel between um the Evangeline and also I think Scarlet in the original series. Because they both start out just like so innocent and so trusting and just like so wanting to be that like really kind person, right? But in a world like this, it's almost just not possible because you're gonna get burned and you're gonna live to regret it, right? Because there are people that like are gonna want to use and abuse you, right? And just use you for their own personal gain. And it's I feel like this is what's happening. Like I do not trust Marisol at all.
No.
I
Yeah.
do not I think she's playing into her like woe to cursed sister, cursed bride act and
The victim
I don't
playing.
trust it.
Yeah.
She's playing the victim. And like she like the situation that she has, like the environment is almost perfect for it, right? Because at first glance you're like, well, yeah, like that's really awful, but like I don't know, it feels so pa.
No, definitely in the beginning of the book, I think I was really hoping that Marisol was just simply a victim, the way that. Not. I knew it wasn't the same, but in the same sense to say as Evangeline, because the stepmother's awful and just wants everything for her own gain, truly, right? And does it to even Marisol. So I do think, to an extent, she's still a victim to her mom, but I think ultimately she is just like her mom, too. You had said something about the fact that she was trying to get married a second time while her sister was stoned to sacrifice her own self for her,
Mhm.
that was really, really sus, fishy, not right. I think since that should have been honestly the first clue, but I was still holding on to hope that like
Right.
she would have had a friend throughout the story or something.
Yeah.
But that should have honestly been the first big red flag to say, honestly, if my sister sacrificed herself for me, I wouldn't sit there being like, oh, well, that was nice. Okay, let's get married. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
Something is happening. Yes, I do agree. Like that was kind of like the first big clue where it's like, she doesn't really care about her sister's feelings, right? Where and they haven't even really talked about it either. Like if it was me, if it my sister, I'd been like, whoa, what's happening here? Right. But she is making excuses for everything, which you should not be doing. If you find yourself keeping and making excuses for people, you should really just stop and address why you're doing that and address like should you really put in such an effort for someone that where you have to make excuses for them. Okay, it has to be said, it has to be said. And also I was also my suspicions were raised when she kind of fought a little bit without being too suspicious about staying home from the ball, and I can't tell if it's like she wanted to do something suspicious or if she was genuinely like, well, because again I feel like the cursed sister thing was an excuse. um so like what was she trying to do?
Yeah, that's a really good
I
point.
do not like it, and I don't know what she's up to. I don't If she's gonna try and like put something in her room somehow or like she'd get sick or something and not be able to attend, whatever. Maybe try to take her place, fix her life around. I don't know.
That's a good thought.
Uh,
My first thought was her cutting up dresses or something like that to sabotage. But none of her dresses so far have been cut up or anything wrong or missing or
but
anything
that
like that.
rose, that flower was ripped.
True. True. That was also in her face though. So like what is she doing when she wasn't there, right? Or when she was trying to not. Yeah. Yeah,
Right. I feel like that was almost like a test.
yeah,
Like, how much can they do in your face and get away with it, right? Rip like a single dress, like a single flower off of your dress,
that's a good
and have you
thought.
just be like, oh, like it was an accident, it was fine, right?
Yep, that's
So
really
that would
good.
mean I'd be like, I can like you're gonna keep making excuses for me. I'm gonna keep seeing like what I can get away with, right?
It's like a
Like,
toddler.
right?
um yeah, and honestly I trust Jax because I mean he asked her to dance, which at first reading that I was like, why? Like of all the people,
Yeah,
why Marisol, right? But
yeah.
later on in the book when he
Kind of
says about don't trust her, she's not your friend, I trust him because one, he's a good looking guy, and usually with good looking people you tend to spill your secrets or even just give hints of your feelings enough that they're like connecting the dots, right? So I do believe that she would
right.
have told him things, even if it's not her whole secret plan or whatever. I do believe that she still would have been
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah, I don't think she deserves this and I wish she wouldn't, or something to
Yeah,
where he's like, okay, I understand that you're not her friend or something. So
right.
I definitely believe him.
That's a really good point. I don't know if Jax right now is like trustworthy, but I feel like out of every character, he's probably one of the most. But it's just saying something, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I could probably trust him as much as I could throw him, but like, don't trust Marisol. Lala seems to be like a good ally. I don't know much about her,
Yeah.
and the stepmother, I would not her with my pet rock. So
Those are such good analogies, whatever the word is. That was perfect because every single one of them were spot on.
yes,
Also, who
thank
is
you.
that random guard who keeps showing up? The one who stopped her right before the little tea thing before she saw the prince, whatever. Then he stopped her from going into a bookstore because he's like, people get lost here and never seen again. And she's just, excuse me?
So
He's always in a
mysterious.
way saving her, right? But yet,
Hmm.
he's not in the guardsmen of the prince that we see, who line up the castle, whatever, right? Like just the normal guards that you see day to day. He just shows up randomly, and it's so
You know what?
weird.
It's probably a fate. It's probably another fate. We just don't know which one.
That's a good thought. Yeah, interesting.
But then, why are all of the fates? It's probably has something to do with the prophecy. Because what I was gonna say is, like, why are all the fates like? Why do they all of them have their attention on her? But it's probably because of the prophecy.
Yeah, true. And there's probably something that they all want in that vault, or in result of the vault or her or whatever.
Hmm.
So I'm sure they all have something to gain.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow.
There's so much. This book is going
So
by
much,
so
which
fast.
which is like a blessing and a curse, just because it's like I want like I need to know, I want to know, but it's also like, but like wait, slow down because this is so good.
Yeah, but it's also so easy, right? I feel like it's barely
Mm,
getting started with everything. Just these last 5 chapters, I feel like we actually started to see purposes and
the plot
reasons
role,
and the whole
yeah.
plot, right?
Hmm. I want to know who the third person she's gonna kiss is, like,
Yeah. At first when he was saying
and
that
like
she was going to kiss a lady, I was like, "Where? What?"
you're like, all right, get freaky with it,
Cool.
like,
He really wants her to get all
um.
the experiences.
I think it's also really interesting, and this is such a Jax thing, right? Where it's you see that like all of the people that she's kissing are just pawns
Yes.
in his like
Yeah.
master scheme, right? She needs to marry Prince Apollo so she can have access to this vault, like whatever. She kissed the Madam Lady, whatever her name, um, so that they could get access to her vault and get those stones, right? And so again, which again I guess disproves my theory that the third person that she's gonna kiss is Jax, right? Because like why would he do that? But we all know that he wants her to do it.
Yeah, I'm still holding out to him being the third person. I do think she's going to kiss him. I just don't think he's going to be the third person. I think he's
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah,
fourth.
no, yeah,
But I obviously the third person is going to be somebody who is involved in all. It's just another pawn, right?
right.
So,
Another pawn in his play, another pawn on the chessboard.
which speaking of like Apollo, that quote that I had written down, or pawns, I guess I should say, specifically Apollo. The other quote I
Uh-huh.
wrote down was what she'd said about Apollo, saying that Apollo's actions and feelings were so extreme, they didn't feel like love. They felt more like an obsession, hungry and outrageous, like the works of a spell or a curse or a fate. And I think, I mean, now that we know it's Jax, right? And we know that he has that control over it, it explains a lot since their first kiss of all of his actions and all the craziness that's happened. It's just
It's all
puppeteering,
Jax.
basically. Yeah, it's all Jax. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Which I'm really glad that they're making that distinguish. Like they're distinguishing that because I just read a book on my own just recently and I think I talked to you about it. It was a really weird book that I was because my mom told me to read it. Um and you could kind of tell that she loved him, but his love was more of an obsession, right? Where it was like he was like she was his prize. And so I think I like that distinction between like what is actual like love and like what
Mm-hmm.
is an obsession because they are not the same. They are not the same.
Yeah.
And I will scream it from the rooftops.
And I like that she's still sticking to what she truly wants, right? She could easily just say,
Mhm.
no, keep him in love with me forever so that I feel like someone loves me. Because it's too easy to just say, I just want to be loved, right? Even if it's fake, I still want to
Right.
just be loved. But instead, she's still sticking to her guns and saying, I want someone to truly actually love me for me, not because they're under spell. And I love that she's sticking with that, not getting caught up in it.
That last chapter I feel like was so important because I think it really like proves her character too, where, she has this man and she was like, it would be so easy, right? And like she likes him, like
Mm-hmm.
she likes him, but it's not love, right? At least on her end, right? And when she invites him up into her room and they're like cuddling and everything, she starts shaking. And he's just like holding her and they're laying together. She's like, you know, you hear in her inner monologue, she's like, it's just so nice to be wanted, right? And it's so nice to be appreciated and like sought after and, all of these things, praised, whatever. And, but, because we all would be tempted and we like, we're all different people. We would all go to different extents,
Yeah.
right? But she's just like, but like, this is not right. And it's just like, ooh, if I had a prince who was handsome
Yeah.
and like love, like at least was like obsessed with me, I would be like, maybe this is
I'm
call
doing
me
it.
a princess, like whatever. Yeah. But I don't know, she's a better woman than I would. I might just be like, all right, like keeping the his spell forever.
Yeah, well, and
But I don't know.
he's a good person too because his first initial thought when she invited him up was, you want intimacy. And he was so excited because, of course, you want to love somebody in every single way when you love someone, or even if you think you love somebody, you want to love them in every way that you can. And so that was his assumption. And to be honest, I would assume that too, right? But
Mhm.
as soon as she seemed to be uncomfortable or to say that wasn't the reason I asked you up here, he immediately was attentive to what she wanted and needed. And I know that probably might also be part of the curse to not disappoint her, but I feel like that says a lot about his character because even him sitting closer to her, he said, "Is this okay?" And to me, that's so much more intimate and more beautiful than if there was a sex scene because him
Mhm.
sitting there and asking her if it's okay to just sit closer to her. He wasn't even touching her, just to be near her. And then she put a hand on his leg just to, let him know that I do care for you and I want you to feel okay. And he just lit
Mhm.
up like a Christmas tree. He was so happy that she just touched, right? Like, I'm just, that was so nice
Yeah.
to that sort of intimacy in instead of sex, where she probably would have, it would have been her using him versus an actual moment of them
Hmm.
just making love, having love, right? So I just love where it went.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, that's such a beautiful point. Like, we love a respectful king. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we love someone that, like, even though, like, he wants, at this moment, he wants nothing more in life than to, like, be as close as he can to her, to love her in every single way. Like, he is still just so respectful. I have, like, boundaries and her, and that scene when he was like, "Yeah, I put my hand on his thigh and he lit him like a Christmas tree." I was like, just happy for her to like just place a hand on him. And like,
So cute.
I need a man obsessed and in love with me. Please. Taking applications.
We'll send them out soon. Yeah, no, I loved that scene, and even with her, with the shaking and with all of her, she would zone out thinking about everything that's in the future, everything that's to come, right? And he just
Mhm.
assumed, which good assumption, she was nervous for the wedding night. She was nervous about becoming queen, becoming a princess when she was just a quote unquote commoner girl, right? Just nobody. And he was so concerned for her stress and was there for her, and he just comforted her and held her and even said like, please just let me stay for you so I can comfort you and
Mhm.
just hold you. We don't have to have sex, we don't
Mhm.
even have to necessarily be touching if that's not what you want, but just let me be here for you. And I just, oh, I could be like crying right now, just that's so beautiful.
Yeah, like, yeah. Oh, even if like he doesn't love her truly, right? Even after the bewitching, I just hope that he comes to love her just because she deserves something like that.
Yeah,
She deserves she deserves that.
definitely.
She deserves that kind of love.
And I think she's actually holding on to that sort of a thought process too, is that maybe he can learn to love me after it,
Hmm.
or maybe those feelings will still kind of linger because he'll remember feeling like that towards me. And yeah, they just learn to
Yeah,
actually love each other instead of some curse or whatever.
right. Oh, I'm wishing the best for you, girl.
Right?
Evangeline. I hope the best.
Oh, also, she asked him about the Valors and everything. And the Valors, like, that's such a crazy history. Their heads get chopped off, they were magical, blah, blah, blah. I actually have a theory
Yeah.
that she is a descendant of them. And that's why she's in the prophecy. That's why maybe she has pink hair. That's why she can hear the little voices in all the arches, all the little magical situations. I think that maybe her mom was a descendant and maybe used the arches to get to wherever she needed to go. I don't know. But I do think maybe she's some sort of descendant or something from them.
I love that theory. I think you are honestly 100% correct. Oh, yes. Yes. Immediately, yes. When you were talking too, I was like, that would explain the voices, right? And everything that they say, they're like, yeah. And like when they got closer to the arch, it's that's when they kind of got more like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say like rampant because it wasn't rampant, but it was like more kind of powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And like once they got like to the well, I mean obviously like once they got to the land like where the arches are, that's when she started hearing them. I love that theory. Gold sticker for you.
Just thanks. Just put a pin in it. Just hold that and wait till you see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see if that old lady, that's who she is in my notes, old lady, not, you know, mistress of whatever household of whatever, if she's going to try and kill her before the wedding or at the wedding, because I don't think they killed her, right? Because she told Jax no, because he was going to kiss her, and she told him no.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she or she's sending somebody else or the granddaughter or someone's going to try and stop the wedding, make it, I don't know, make her disappear. I don't know what. But
I could also see her using Marisol. Like, because
that's a
Marisol
good
would
point.
be like really easy access. So if she were to come and be like, you know, be very like manipulative and be like, she's taking everything that like you worked for and you deserve this and you know, and just like have Marisol try to, or you know,
That's a good point. Or if Marisol went to her to try and find out things or something, right? Because there is already rumors and it's already in the papers that that family's not happy with her. So it's not some secret thing that Marisol couldn't figure out herself, right? It's in the papers, it's out there. She knows they're a powerful family in this land. So she could also easily go to the old lady and say, I have a proposition for
mhm,
you. Help me figure it out or something, right?
I need to know now. Like,
Well, so our next episode, we are going to be reading the rest of the book. And
yes,
I'm sure we're going to have so much
because
to say.
we could just do like break this up into 2 episodes and do like continue this part to 15. But then the second episode would be like only like a few chapters. So we're gonna finish the book and this is gonna be a juicy gossip sesh. And we're so excited. And with that will air on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Saturday. I'm so excited. Sometimes
Hmm.
I feel like because this is book 1 of 3, it could end without much more, if that makes sense. And we're going to have to scramble to the next one, or it could end with so much to talk about. So I look forward to next
I have a
episode.
feeling this is gonna be a cliffhanger.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. It might be in the middle of like her
We are
kissing Jax or in the middle of her kissing Apollo to like get married or something. It's definitely going to be something big.
someone like dying.
You know.
Let's hope not. But you never know.
Maybe they'll leave.
Yes, join us on Saturday. This is meant to be like a book club. We will be talking spoilers. We'll be talking all of the juicy deets. And so bring all of your theories, your thoughts, opinions. And if you're Team Jax or Team Apollo, also.
Ooh, yeah. Which one are you?
So I just kind of have a feeling that this is going to be like the Remnant Chronicles, where it's like I was so sure it was going to be Caden, and maybe that's a spoiler. So, spoiler. Anyway, but it wasn't. And so, but because right now I just really want what Prince Apollo is giving her because she deserves it, right? But also Jax is so like mysterious and like elusive, right? So I think if Jax can really kind of like just I don't know. I think it's too early for me to tell right now. Because it's like you have Jax who's kind of an a-hole right now.
Yes.
Like red flags, kind of like whatever. But we like that. We like that in a book boyfriend, right? But then you also have Apollo who is like the perfect kind of boyfriend, but like he is enchanted. He is bewitched. So not consensual. So
Right.
we don't love that.
Right. Yeah, I will
So I
say
don't know.
that her being with Jax, I feel like makes more sense for like the storyline and this whole prophecy thing.
Yes.
But I do
Hmm.
love Apollo.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out. Join us for the next episode.
And let us know what team you're
And
on.
for the rest of the book series. Yeah, we love you. Thanks for joining us
See
today.
you on Saturday. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, share, and join us on Saturday.